It's time for our tips for round 17, and it's not going to be an easy week, especially with the first couple of games that we got going on, because of course starting us off is going to be quite possibly the most important game of the entire season, and that is the Geelong Cats, the Melbourne Demons. This is at the GMHBA Stadium. The odds are very, very close. Melbourne is slight favorites in this one, and slight favorites according to the tipsters as well, according to the AFL.com site. They are tipping the D's at 53%. And, Donnie, I'm going with the hottest team in the league right now, and that's the Geelong Cats, taking it at home. Obviously, this isn't an easy tip to make, but going off of form, and also I think it really comes down to the difference in grounds between the MCG and the GMHBA in this one too. I think that's going to play a big role.
I this one I bounce back and forth a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I see everything that you're saying completely. Actually, completely agree with a lot of the things that you say. Here's the thing that I made this tip before the teams even came out a little bit too. I think Melbourne's midfield is going to be just such a pain. Dangerfield looks better. This is great. Yeah. But after Dangerfield, there is not the strength that Melbourne has with Petrarca, with Oliver, with Viney, with Brayshaw, with all of their depth in the midfield. I think that's going to hurt. And then the fact that now Gawn and Jackson are both in. So Reece Stanley now goes from climbing up just the tiniest kitty hill to the massive mountain that is Jackson and Gawn. This made my tip even a little bit more confident. My only worry with those two is the fact that Gawn and Jackson could come in underdone. That they're worried about trying to get the number one spot, that they're bringing them back a week or two early. So that's my only worry that I sit there and say on that. So I'm going to tip Melbourne. Conveniently, I just received a text message from our great esteemed colleague, that is Brad, with his tips, and he has also gone with the Melbourne Demons to win this game over. So that is two. Okay,
so we'll see if I could catch him with this one then. I think I am 4 games back on him right now, so this one might be able to help me.
You got to remind me before we do our tips each week to do the tip ladder, because I always send us home the tip ladder. So I know we'll rewind just the tiniest bit. Tip ladder going into this round again. Ross is correct. He has 4 games back with 92 wins. Brad has 96. Ross has 92. Myself with 90, and my good friend Zach with 82 wins on the season. So we go into this season, again, 4 games back, so we may have to make some moves, you and I, or Brad may run away with us.
You know what? I'm going to have to make some moves this round, and a way I'm going to make some moves is by tipping Geelong, and another way I'm going to make some moves on is with my bold tip of the round, because even though all the stuff we're talking about when it comes to doggies and swans, and how the Swans are probably going to win this game, if we're being honest here, I am tipping the Western Bulldogs. I am going to have my cake and eat it too. I think Sydney's going to win, but I am tipping the Doggies. It's my show. I can do what I want, damn it. And this is my promise to you guys. Every single round, you're going to get at least one bold tip of the round. This is mine right here. Just 15% of tippers going with the Doggies, and I am going to ride with them on this one. They're going to handle the Sydney Swans at the SCG as underdogs, and they're going to stay alive when it comes to finals contention.
All right, I don't think that's as big a bold statement as you probably want it to be. I think a lot of people are tipping Sydney. Well, no, I think a lot of people are tipping Sydney plain and simply off of the fact that Sydney is at home. Sydney is the team in the finals, and the Doggies have struggled a little bit over the last few rounds. The reason I'm tipping Sydney, and Brad is also tipping Sydney as well, is that with a small.
I'm moving on 2 games this round, guaranteed. Let's go.
Oh, it'll be very interesting after just the first 2 days how this ladder sits. Definitely. The Doggies handball game may not work as well on the shorter Sydney cricket ground. Their handball game, I think, works really well on big grounds, on grounds when they can get space. Sydney defends usually pretty well. They were a little sketchy a little bit against Essendon, but it was more the kicks that burned them more than handballs. So I'm worried that the smaller ground, the tighter confines, and a little bit of pressure may undo the Doggies' style a little bit. Plus, you got to remember the Doggies beat the Swannies earlier in the year. Could Horace bring back that tape and make some adjustments from that? So I'm gonna tip Sydney with this, but I don't think this is as big a bold tip for you as you think it is. This concerns me as a Swans fan of another loss, because this is a very good Doggies team that when they get going can be very, very dangerous.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a fun game, though. At the end of the day, I think we're going to have a lot of fun with this one. It's going to be very competitive, but what's probably not going to be competitive at all is the Collingwood Magpies and the North Melbourne Roos. 99% of tippers going... I appreciate that. I try. Are going with Collingwood, unsurprisingly, especially at the MCG. What more do we have to say about this one?
There isn't. We're tipping Collingwood, and anybody that doesn't tip Collingwood needs to be taken to a mental hospital.
There we go. Or they're just a hell of a fan for the Roos. So either way, I respect it.
Yeah,
but the next one,
that's a 3 tip for Collingwood there. Don't even have to think about that one.
Oh yeah. One you got to think about a little bit more, and one I was definitely really considering here was Gold Coast and Richmond. They're actually the odds. I don't think I've seen this before, Tony. They are perfectly even, $1.92. And actually, this is for both St. Kilda and Fremantle, the game after this one. So the odds for both games are even. But 76% of tipsters are going with Richmond, not too surprisingly. I really could see the Gold Coast Suns take this one. But with Richmond's placement on the ladder, I don't think they lose their spot this round.
All right, you're tipping Richmond?
I am tipping Richmond.
Okay, Brad is tipping Gold Coast. Brad is tipping.
He might give
Gold
me on this
Coast
one
in this game. I'm tipping Richmond as well in this one. I just think Richmond's playing pretty good footy. It's up in Metricon, so it'll be interesting. But I think they both play surge footy. I think Richmond just plays surge footy a little bit better. Wits and Nank is going to be...
And that footy can handle the wet conditions a little bit better as well compared to some of the other teams.
The surge mentality is not about the perfect possession like some teams are. Like they don't mind kicking it off the ground, just chasing it. So I'm going to tip Richmond in this one, but I think this could be an absolute cracker game up at Metricon Stadium. It'll be a fascinating one. So yeah. So I have Richmond, and Brad has Gold Coast.
Now the next one, if it was at Optus, I'd have such an easy time tipping this one, but is at Marvel, especially given what we saw from St. Kilda last round. It definitely made tipping this game a little bit harder. I am ultimately going to go with the Freo Dockers over the Saints, but I could easily see the Saints pull this one off, given the Saints team that we have seen and the Fremantle team that we've unfortunately seen for those Freo supporters.
This will be fascinating to see this one. I had some trepidation on this one because I thought Did the Saints have that great performance against Collingwood and Carlton? Pick the correct C team, and usually sometimes when that happens, you get a letdown in the next game. And Fremantle is the worst letdown team you can have because this is a vulnerable team. They're on the road. They don't play as well. I'm also going to tip Fremantle. Brad is also tipping Fremantle. So all three of us have got the Dockers in this one. But this one is one of those I looked at a lot because, again, Saints can on their day win it, but I think Fremantle's got a little too much for him in this time.
Next one we got is heading on over to the Oval. We got Port Adelaide taking on GWS, and please Giants win this game. I don't think they will. I think Port Adelaide wins this one.
I think Port wins this one.
It's a tough home ground to play on.
It is. Adelaide Oval, they're tough there. They play well. GWS just...
The fans are amazing too, by the way.
Well,
I had to get back in the good graces. We kind of talked them getting kicked out of the finals. I had to talk them back up with what's still truth is that those fans are fantastic. The Port Adelaide supporters are fantastic.
Never tear us apart is still one of the coolest things to watch when it does happen. So I've got Port. Brad has got Port. I think Port's just a little too strong. GWS again. They have this thing of play a good team. They play okay. Play a bad team, they play good. So it's kind of one of those. I think Port is a much better team than their record. I think Port would be in the finals if they didn't have that 0-5 start. So I'm going to go off a good team against GWS and go Port Adelaide on this one.
Now, the next couple of games, maybe even the next few, I was actually kind of considering if having one of these is my bold tip of the round. Ultimately, I didn't feel as good with these ones as my earlier one. But Brisbane and Essendon, I'm going to assume that Brisbane's going to handle Essendon. But given the couple of games we've seen from the Bombers recently, like, I don't know. I guess they can. I'm tipping the Lions, but I wouldn't be super shocked if Essendon actually does something crazy.
It's up at the Gabba. I think Brisbane kind of stabled themselves. I think the three-headed monster is going to give Essendon's defense trouble. I think Brisbane wins this one. I think Brisbane knows they have to win games to stay in that chance for top two. So we're definitely going to look at that when it comes to it. So I will tip the Brisbane Lions in this one, but I really did look at this one as being a potential upset, but just not enough confidence in Essendon to be consistent enough to do that. So.
Another potential upset game is going to be taking place at Marvel Stadium. We got the Hawthorn Hawks taking on the Adelaide Crows. About $1 separates both these teams in terms of betting odds, but tipsters are way higher on one, with Hawthorn taking home 85% of all tips. I think that if Adelaide plays the game that if they can play to their potential, they can win this one, but I see Hawthorn taking this.
I'm also one of those. I looked at Adelaide hard on this one. I really, really did. But Hawthorn's just one of those that they play a very gritty style of football. And Adelaide, sometimes when you get a little physical with them, they can be a little jumpy. So I'm going to tip Hawthorn this one at Marvel Stadium, and I believe Brad tipped Brisbane and Hawthorn as well. So.
Great. Well, maybe I might be able to get a couple. I might be able to get a few games on him this round. There's a good possibility.
Potentially up to three.
Could be a lot of fun here. The last game I'm sure we're all agreeing on as well is Carlton over the West Coast Eagles, even though I do think that West Coast could make this a lot scarier than it should be for those Blues fans. And hell, they might even be able to pull the ultimate disappointment this one. I don't think that's out of the picture. I'll tip the Blues, but man, I'm a little bit weary of this one.
Legit raised my hand. I had West Coast for about an hour. Legit.
Nice.
I legit had West Coast for an hour.
Hate that.
I thought about that. I ended up tipping Carlton. I'm going to stay with Carlton because their injury list for West Coast got a little bigger. They have a few injuries there. But if they didn't have some of the guys out that I thought they were going to have in for this game, I seriously, at Optus Stadium, would have tipped West Coast because this is a danger game for the Carlton Blues. Because West Coast, they have literally no pressure on them at all. They can just go out and play footy, and that's a dangerous team, especially with a Carlton team that they're still trying to survive to get to top four. So I tipped Carlton. Brad tipped Carlton as well, but legit raised my hand. I had West Coast for about an hour. I sat there with West Coast going, I think they could potentially do this, and talked myself out of it a little bit as I've seen the teams come out over the last couple of days.
And man, I'm super excited. Brad, better watch your ass because I'm coming. 3 games are going to be made up this round alone, so you better stay weary. Oh boy, either this round's going to be amazing for me in terms of our standings, or it's going to spell disaster for my season. So we'll see. We will definitely see. But